need support staff to clear the room. Stand up and walk, now.
Hello, and welcome to The Watch. My name is Chris Ryan. I am an editor at TheRinger.com, and joining me in the studio on a permanent hiatus from competitive hot dog eating, it's Andy Greenwald!
How you doing, buddy?
The engine needs a little bit of work. We need a little bit of oil poured in there.
You?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I'm tired, man.
Talk about it.
Yeah, did the live show last night for Bill.
Wait, first, let's be clear. You didn't perform a solo live show for Bill, where he was like, dance monkey, do Wayne Jenkins.
Honestly, it was pretty close to that. I did a lot of Al Pacino last night.
You were live on stage in front of hundreds of people.
Yes, at the Wiltern Theater, we did the Bill Simmons live show. We did Heat quotes to explain the NBA season thus far.
I mean, what else would one do? That's great.
And it was me and Rob and Van and Bill, and it was a lot of fun. But I am feeling it a little bit today because I only had like honey roasted almonds and a banana for dinner.
What are we doing?
Well, I don't like going into any kind of live performance with like a belly full of food.
That's fair. But what about afterwards? You go get some...
Well, then it was like 10:30 because we were up there for a long time. It's like fish, you know? It was like Anastasio just noodling, you know? And so I was like, I got to go home. And then I had to go home. Yeah. And if you really want the God's honest truth, Andy, I'll give it to you right now. We do have some news, and we're going to talk about the Pitt. And you can hit us up at thewatch at Spotify.com, and you can follow us on Instagram at thewatchpod_, and you can watch us on YouTube at TheRinger-TV. And you should watch us on Spotify, where you're also listening to us. But I got home 10:40, 10:50 p.m. Usually you're way in bed.
I'm big in bed.
That's when the Ryan Riley household fired up Tell Me Lies, dog. Tell Me Lies Island.
End of this.
It's not even an island anymore. It's an asylum. It's an asylum. These people all belong in Arkham. For people who don't know, Tell Me Lies is about a bunch of young folks at a Bard. Is it Bard College?
Bard is a college in reality.
They go to Baird.
Oh, I see
on
what
the
you
show.
did there.
And what they do is occasionally they pursue hobbies like photography and like kind of new journalism. But for the most part, they terrorize each other emotionally and sexually. And last week, I'll just say it out loud, I watched the main character listening to a threatening voicemail message from her ex. And she still has this threatening voicemail message where he's just like, nobody likes you, you're a piece of shit. And she masturbated to it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, already like,
wow.
We're already in the red.
Yeah.
And then this week, they made the mistake of finding two characters with souls and putting them together briefly.
Yeah.
And then we watched them get destroyed. So...
I'm sorry, I'm hung up on something. Could you do the threatening masturbatory voicemail as Al Pacino? But Al Pacino like 95, 96, Al Pacino?
Right. It's a set of women blind masturbating to a voicemail from my ex.
It's auditory. Yeah. That's
good. So it's just been an amazing experience watching the show. And also watching it, to use a Greenwaldism, break contain. Because Bill Simmons making IG reels about it.
Oh.
It's just caught on, I think. It's the number one show on Hulu. This is its final season, and its finale is next week.
Is it the final season in the sense of like Some Right Turn Pretty, where they're going to do a movie to wrap it all up?
No, it's a really good question. I was looking at some stuff about that today. They say that this is the end of the story and that they, could consider future ideas. So like the way it's set up is this college stuff is told basically in flashback from a wedding that is taking place in 2000. I want to say 15, but I might be wrong. I could be remembering that wrong. And so theoretically, I could imagine a show called Tell Me Lies about, I guess, the wedding night. These doomed people. No, the wedding night is a major storyline.
Right, but I'm saying what else happens at the wedding, and you go 2025 and they're like, here's some stuff you didn't know about the wedding.
Dude, what if you the funniest thing in the world was if you became the showrunner of the Tell Me Lies spinoff.
Tell me more lies.
Tell me truths.
No, nobody wants that.
No, I know. You have no interest in a young person's erotic soap, do you?
As a hashtag girl dad, I do not. Thank you.
You feel good about that for about 2 more years. When she's firing that up, when she's doing the third spin through Tell Me Lies.
Let me enjoy that she is just rereading the Little House on the Prairie books right now, okay? Yeah. Let me just have this. In terms of...
What if it's the Little House on the Prairie book cover, but on the inside it's the novel Tell Me Lies?
I respect it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there are any larger takeaways for those of us who are not going to engage in the show? Like the depravity of the show, is it saying something about our culture? Like, because I do think this is unrelated, but I think
it's a good, really good depiction of some of the toxic codependencies that can emerge out of long-term partnerships between people who are creatively handcuffed to one another. No.
And who went to a wedding in 2015.
To me, when I watch it, I'm like, this has all the bones of a primetime soap from the aughts, maybe even the 90s, where you've got like a group of people who are like slowly going through every permutation of coupledom.
Yeah.
But it takes advantage of all the like, guardrails that have been removed because now there are streamers. Now it's on streaming. Right. So it doesn't look that different than an ABC show, but it feels like you're watching a sedated version of Euphoria. I find it to be actually like incredibly watchable. But one of the problems is that because I expect everybody in here to have their very beings like atomized by each other, when they have something in the episode recap, like before you start the new episode, and they're like, last week on Tell Me Lies, and it's like a random little line from 3 weeks ago, and you're like, oh, okay, so they're going to make Bree's mom an alcoholic again.
I thought they were going to be like, someone's going to masturbate to that. What a tell.
Yeah. So it's just like, I assume the worst, and I'm usually rewarded for my assumptions in this show, which I don't know is a special kind of pleasure.
That's the same feeling I had watching my own Tell Me Lies, Pam Bondi's appearance before Congress yesterday. Kaya, where are you with this show? And because I feel like you have been watching.
I'm mid-season 2.
Which season are we on?
3.
Okay. So I'm getting there. I'm at a Summer I Turned Pretty pace where I'm not on track to, unfortunately, catch up before the season finale airs. And Chris is really worried about spoiling me, but I guess that was the only plot detail you were worried about spoiling for me.
The masturbating?
Yeah.
No, I just didn't. There's the thing about the couple that I like. I just don't want to give it away because they handle it really well. It emerges over the course of season 3. You're like, look at these two kids. They just want to make it honest. Are
there multiple nice couples that emerge?
No, there's
in
only
season
one.
3? Okay,
there's only one.
You've essentially spoiled
two.
it.
I would say there's 1.5.
Talk me through then before we move on, like just psychologically, look, doing a live show, your nerves are firing, you're fired up.
Adrenaline,
Yeah, and then your body is in full ketosis, having not eaten. And you choose to fill the gnawing hole in yourself with this program.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it more? Did you enjoy it less? Did you feel sated at the end of watching it? Because if we were in New York, you would have stopped for a slice or something.
Sure, I would have had a whole night in front of me. We would have gone out. We would have chased the dawn. I felt like I want to still be the guy who stays up until 12:15 on a weeknight.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. I have nobody's going to wake me up in the morning and say, "Dad, where's breakfast?"
It would be super weird if they did.
But I was just saying, it's okay for me to stay up late on a weeknight, even if I have to get up and come in and talk about Apple buying the IP rights for its own show back from a production company.
I thought this was interesting.
This is the first headline I want to throw at you now. And I like to go to you for this behind the scenes business level stuff.
Totally.
Comrade Tim Cook seizing the means of production for Severance, going in and paying a reported $70 million to buy basically the IP. The rights.
Yeah.
He bought Severance from 5th Season, which was the original production company who stay on as executive producers. I don't know how ceremonial that is or whether or not they're instrumental going forward in doing the 3rd season of Severance, the reported 4th season of Severance, the hint that there could be more seasons of Severance, or the hint that there could be spin-offs of Severance. Yeah. And additionally, although I never really would have thought this was an export, an international version of Severance, different countries. So like the way that The Office popped up in a couple of different countries, obviously. Let's start with the business side of things.
Look, when you're on a tear like Tim Cook is on, from attending the Melania premiere to this, he's crushing it. No, so it's an interesting...
For folks who don't understand, it's not uncommon where a different studio, a different production company is selling the show to the streamer that is distributing it.
I mean, there are some places that generate most of their content in-house. There's some places that have their own robust studio business, but then also are buyers. And Apple, starting from from zero, one of the things that the guys in charge of Apple Television from the beginning have been very plain about is that they were the heads of Sony.
Yeah. Which is a buyer.
Which is a
seller.
Complete
Yes.
seller.
Yeah.
They don't buy. That they wanted to have an in-house studio, and they built that up over time. So I think now roughly half of Apple shows are
And I think they
in-house.
bought Ted Lasso and Silo, if I remember
Silo
correctly.
is the example that I know of something that started as an external show and they bought and brought in-house for its second season.
Yeah.
So that there's precedent for what they're doing with Severance. If you read, I thought the article about this was pretty. If you read between the lines, was pretty.
This was in Deadline.
It was pretty honest in a way that some of these stories aren't. Like, obviously, it paid lip service to things that are factually true about the growth potential for the series, the importance of the series to Apple's overall strategy in terms of awards, in terms of having its own franchises to build, larger IP on. I don't quite see the growth in terms of like merchandising unless like they're looking forward to selling a lunchbox that comes out every 3 years and opens weird.
They could definitely sell like a Severance board game or a Severance video game.
Sure, or a desk.
Sure, they could sell desks.
Yeah, they could sell desks is what I'm saying. Hallways. All of that makes sense. But if you read between the lines further, what you get is some of the
escape
stuff.
rooms, I could see. Maybe I should be working.
Why don't you go off on this for a minute? Why don't you just... No bad ideas in a brainstorm. This is the most animated you've been today.
Is the ways in which Apple can get some new revenue going.
Well, you've got all this like capital, right?
Yeah.
You're up till midnight. Like, what are you going to do?
Dear Tim, some thoughts after watching Tell Me Lie. After watching this girl masturbate.
Why don't you do it as a voice memo for him?
Yeah.
See what he does with it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you did.
Gotcha. If you read between the lines of the article, there's a lot of the stuff there that is sort of generally understood but not fully reported or sourced, which is this has been a bear of a show to produce. That I think there's a passing reference to season 2 starting production at the end of 22 and finishing in 24.
Right. Strikes, et cetera.
Strikes, et cetera, but also I believe it's referred to as Ben Stiller's feature background and exacting vision, ballooning costs, and all the other things that went along with making the show. Writer's room turmoil. There's a sense within the article that the show or the demands of the show or now the expectations of the show have far outstretched fifth season's ability to fund it on its own.
They were essentially being asked to float the production for several years in between seasons as things went up and went down. And Apple obviously has the pockets to do so.
Apple can pay for this. And Apple clearly is invested in paying for it. And I think it's interesting. It definitely guarantees the stability of the show, or the chance for them to see it all the way through, wherever it is that it's going.
I find Apple building, regardless of my relationship to any of these shows, some of which I like and some of which I've kind of maybe enjoyed and then moved on from, I find their relationship to their flagship shows very interesting. Because one thing that I admire and appreciate about Apple is their commitment to multi-season runs. And if they feel like something's working, they're just going to keep doing it. And that's been great for Slow Horses. It's obviously been great for Shrinking in terms of that fan base. The people who really love Shrinking, I'm sure, are very appreciative that it's not like, is Shrinking coming back every 9 months? And it kind of is getting close to replicating what a television network used to feel like, where every year my show comes back.
Yep.
I know with interest that Shrinking is a Warner Brothers show, I believe.
Yeah, Bill
comes
Lawrence.
through Bill Lawrence's Warner deal. But yeah, like they continue to amass this sort of war chest of things. And it's like, you know what, honestly, in 3 or 4 years, they could do the morning show without Aniston and Witherspoon. They could come up with a different pairing of people who are working in, morning shows in the 70s. You could do the morning show in the 70s, all the President's Men style.
What else could you do, Chris? What's another list of things that they could do with the morning show?
I'm just throwing free game to Tim Cook.
They could make a show about your morning where no one wakes you up. And it's just a very peaceful 15 minutes.
I wake up every morning and I open up the Hollywood Reporter at my table and I say, what are we going to talk about on the watch? And I'm just tired of being mocked for my choices.
I appreciate
you
that
had kids,
commitment.
I run this show.
Honestly, it's a division of labor I'm very, very comfortable with. The one thing just to note that we were talking about studios sell things to other streamers, et cetera, et cetera. I do find it interesting to note like the way some of these decisions are connected. So Bill Lawrence has had he's when the books are written, maybe Alan Sepinwall will write this book someday about like the most successful creators in the history of TV. Bill Lawrence is without question among them, even though he has a lower profile, maybe because he's in comedy. But he's had a hit show in every decade for the last 4 decades.
He has also done something that I thought would never happen, which is merged the kind of sensibilities of multiple eras.
Yeah.
Often to, and I mean this as a compliment to his benefit, in so much as he is doing a streaming show at the clip that he would do Scrubs, but with like a lower episode order.
Now he's doing Scrubs again.
Yeah.
But so Ted Lasso, Shrinking, Bad Monkey, I think comes from him as well. These are all shows that have found varying levels of success propping up Apple's brand. And he's done all this through his longtime home at Warner Brothers. And the upcoming, in the next few weeks, Steve Carell comedy Rooster is both a Bill Lawrence show for HBO, but also does to me feel a little bit like some kind of internal, wait, why are we letting this guy leave the building?
Yes.
Like, we need to develop our in-house talent and we need to have one of his shows that are successful elsewhere here.
Yeah.
And I haven't not watched enough of that show to determine like if, this actually is an HBO version of a Bill Lawrence show. Yeah. I've watched one and it's enjoyable, but it's very Bill Lawrence enjoyable. And it's interesting to see like, does that brand more important at this point than HBO's esteemed comedy brand? Not that it's belittling it.
No.
It's just that it is something that has worked elsewhere brought into in-house.
I think that like a couple of years ago when they were doing like Flight Attendant, which the first season of Flight Attendant I liked very much, and it was a Max show, and Max was going to be this kind of like TNT version of HBO or something. And now I feel like between Heated Rivalry, maybe the Rooster like you're talking about, like a couple of other things that are the Pitt, obviously, a Max show.
Yeah, but Rooster's HBO.
Yes, you're right. I'm saying HBO has loosened up what is HBO a little bit.
Well, or they're trying to, yes, they've done that, and they've also tried to redefine what Max is. Did you see that the trilogy of shows? They have the medical show, The Pitt, which we're going to talk about in a moment. We talked about like, what is it, like Rhapsodies in Blue, starring Milo Ventimiglia as a cop named Milk.
And the Greg Berlanti family show, right?
Which announced its patriarch in Ray Romano.
How about that?
Who I think is a really good actor, actually.
There you go.
I enjoy him as an actor these days.
Spider-Noir got its first trailer. This is the Amazon series from Lord Miller, broadly speaking, but has obviously a different showrunners. Nick Cage, he plays a guy named Ben Reilly.
You want me to talk about that? I don't know if you have time.
He's a kind of private investigator in New York in the 30s, and he is a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Just tell me, because I'm just going to walk into a wall if I try to explain this.
Well, for those of us who have watched and loved the Spider-Verse movies, Nick Cage voices Spider-Man Noir in those movies. And those movies bring together like all the alternate Spider-Man that have existed in the comics in various forms. And a noir version of Spider-Man has a comic book, relatively recent, but comic book history.
Is it good?
Yeah, I mean, I like both of those things, and they taste real good together. This show comes from a deal that Amazon made with Lord Miller off of the success of, and Sony, off of the success of the Spider-Verse, to bring to the small screen Spider alts.
Spider tent, Spider content.
The big tent of Spider-Man politics. And it has been a bumpy development road. I think the first announced one was a series based on a Korean-American Spider Girl that has gone through multiple showrunners, and I don't even know the current status of it. This one, I, full disclosure, met on this one, so I am aware of how long of a process this has been. This has been multiple years of building up some development and then starting from scratch.
Do you think it's weird, and this is also full disclosure, that I have not yet heard back about my pitch for Spider MAGA about a guy who refuses to get vaccinated and that gives him spider powers?
I think because it's a bidding war. I think everybody wants that right now. And so I think right now they're just quibbling over a dollar figure for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, no.
Let me know.
You're always... This is what you do, though. You zag, because last week, Kai cut us up for the internet, so it looks like we're super, we're like resistance libs. And now...
I don't really want to...
You keep people guessing. You're like what Michael Jordan said about sneakers. you know?
Yes, that's true.
Everybody buys them, let's say.
That's sort of what he said.
That's sort of what he said. It's tricky to take something that is an idea and works in a cartoon or works in a comic book and make a live action version of it. And when I was aware of the conversations, it was meant to be like an inspiration or origin story or alternate version of the character that Nicolas Cage voiced in the cartoon.
Okay.
I don't know what point. Long after I was done talking with him, someone was like, Nick could do this.
Sure.
It definitely raises the interest and the surreality of it, I think, to see actually Nick Cage playing a freak.
The rest of the cast is rounded out by a fantastic group of performers.
Really
Lauren
good cast.
Morris from Fargo and New Girl, Lee Jun Lee, who I thought was so great in Sinners, Karen Rodriguez from Hunting Wives, Abraham Papula from Slow Horses for a couple of seasons there, Jack Houston, and Brendan Gleeson. So that's a dynamite cast for
amazing.
this. And interestingly enough, this is it comes from Oren Uziel, who did Lost City, and Steve Lightfoot, who does The Punisher, and they are co-showrunners. Interestingly enough, I believe this show will be released in both black and white and color versions. I think I will choose to watch it in black and white if I watch it, assuming I watch it.
Yeah, I think that was, they fight, people fight behind the scenes to get that happen. Like,
Yeah.
I still can't believe that that Garrett Bash and his producing team got Ripley released in black and white.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. I also think we should mention Harry Bradbeer, who directed on Fleabag and I think on Killing Eve as
Okay.
well. Seems to have brought a really cool visual style to it. I don't know. It looks pretty fun, honestly. Like, it seems to understand the brief that, like, what would make it more interesting and more unique at this point in time is less a Spider-Man or superhero show and more of like a let's really play with noir convention.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see what a year from now, assuming Spider-Maga isn't a go
No,
project
sure.
and I'm not writing and directing every episode.
Mhm.
I mean, fingers crossed.
Of course.
Where Amazon is a year from now, because as we noted in previous episodes, Peter Freelander, who is a longtime executive and had in charge of scripted at Netflix, is now at Amazon. I saw that they had made some new pickups, international titles that they had
Yes.
picked up, which I always thought Netflix had pretty good taste in international
Yeah.
TV, especially the crime department. So for a while there, I've been kind of like, not dubious, but a little just nonplussed about some of the Prime Video stuff where it's like major IP blockbuster attempts at kind of grappling with the Game of Thrones reality of television, whether it's Fallout or the Lord of the Rings show. And a lot of like pretty good to unwatchable guy with a gun, whether it's Reacher, Terminal List, Bosch, until it was actually then kicked down to Freevee and whatever it is now. So I mean, I'm just to see the direction that Amazon goes. Obviously, this goes back to previous administrations, but I'm curious.
So you're saying previous administrations could have released the files?
They could, yeah.
Who do you think the villains are? And by the way, everything you just said, great. I wasn't thinking about who Spider-Maga's villain is. My sense is that
It's obviously
I think it's Measles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's dominant
Dr. Measles
in everything, and he's really strong because he only eats meat and ferments. But oh, Measles! Oh no, the webs do nothing. And then he dies, and then there's 6 more episodes of just black screen.
That's cool.
Not black and white, just black screen. It's pretty visionary.
Yeah. I was heavily influenced by David Lynch.
Heavily.
Yeah.
I don't think this is as chaotic. I think we actually have enough actual things to talk about today so that I don't need to fill you in on the background of Ben Reilly in the Spider-Man universe.
It's your dime, man. You can tell me whatever you want. In here, it's just us.
It's beautiful. Is that what Bill told you last night when we were doing Pacino for the 19th time? No, it's just Peter Parker can't be in these shows because Peter Parker's rights are controlled by Sony. Like, all the stuff is micro sliced into so many different it's kind of like the NFL package.
Yeah.
Like, who gets to run what when. Ben Reilly is a infamous name among Spider fans because there was a pretty controversial plot line. I believe it was 90s into the 2000s where a guy, basically it was suggested that Spider-Man, Peter Parker, was who readers had enjoyed for 20 years, had actually for 20 years been a clone.
Oh.
And that the real Spider-Man was a guy named Ben Reilly. And then that guy took over the suit and became the Scarlet Spider. And everyone was like, and I believe I can sort of paraphrase comic book fans whose reaction to this was, what the fuck?
Do you participate in online discourse about comic books, or are you just
not
like
under my real name?
Right.
But I have a number of spirited
as Spider-Mega
clone accounts where I actually... The Scarlet Spider's
No, I was wondering whether or
were-
not, because there's some art forms or some popular culture things that you're like, you and I will both be like, what are people saying about this record or this movie? But then there are things where I'm like, I actually don't care what people think. I like to read spy novels.
Yeah.
Like I literally don't care what any literary critic would ever say about Oliver Harris, for instance.
Oh, sure.
It's just like, that's mine. I dig it.
Yeah.
If that guy just wants to stand in a hotel in Kazakhstan for 15 books, I will read it.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
But do you go, like, when you're reading comic books, or you're like, I'm curious whether or not this is playing with the crowd?
Well, first I brush the Dorito dust from my fingers.
Yeah.
Get dressed.
Play a couple of voicemails.
No, because my involvement, you never know. My involvement with comic books at this point in my life is not...
It's Scarlet Spider-Man.
Your opinions about me are terrible. I am driven by market forces. I am not I'd like to think that sometimes like within television or industries that we are more active in, we're like, aha, we have found the diamond in the rough and let us drive culture on this.
Sure.
With comic books, like the other week we were talking about what DC was doing with these absolute versions of their characters. I know about that because it percolated long enough to cross over into the mainstream.
Right.
I was not in these comic book streets being like, oh, this guy's really got... I'm not in... No.
Would you say that the arena where you find most of this discourse is Facebook?
No, Facebook is just mostly sending me... Like, I clicked on one... Thanks for the opportunity to update everyone. And we didn't want to talk about this with, not joking, but like, I did click on a story about James Vanderbeek, who passed away. And then this morning, when I did run out of things to look at and I looked at Facebook, it was all really, really personal memories of people's loved ones dying, written by people I don't know. So that was really cool that it found my interest and my passion. Yeah. That was great.
Why are you on Facebook again? Is it just an addiction at this point? Is there something in there that's like, oh, I gotta share this with my like high school class or something? Or
I don't share.
Okay,
no. I just told
you just lurk on
it's
Facebook.
Purely because I ran out of stuff to look at to avoid starting my day.
You know what? Anytime you're like, I don't want to go to Facebook, but I've run out of things to look at on the internet, hit me up.
How? You're gonna show me some stuff? What do you mean? This is
text me and I'll send you some links. Yeah.
Okay. On the dark web?
No, just stuff that's out there that I'm reading.
Like, for example. What would you have sent me?
I've been reading some cool Substacks. There's one called The Hunt for Tom Clancy that I've been really enjoying.
This seems useful. Why don't you share this stuff with me?
I will.
I mean, like, I thought the Michael Pollan interview about existence and perception was interesting, but I didn't send it to you. Because I feel like you're good on perception. You don't have kids. Like, I eat when I'm hungry and I go to sleep when I'm tired. I don't need to know about how I'm experiencing reality. Everything's great.
That's not how it goes, man.
I'm like, please, let me. Are there other worlds out there?
Not to be too meta about it, but sometimes I feel like the Pitt is getting short shrift from this podcast. At least in the first 5 or 6 episodes. Is that where we're at? But like
this was 6.
It's noon, right?
It was noon.
Yeah.
Noon or 1 p.m. actually. I think we started at 7.
And this episode is directed by Noah Wiley, and we'll get into
What can't that guy do?
I know, man. Young citizen Noah.
He's the king of television, man.
And I feel like sometimes I like move it down the rundown a little bit. Like there are some shows where I'm like, immediately let's get into this and let's start breaking down this amazing TV show. And it's really no testament. It has nothing to do with how I feel about the Pitt or its quality. It's really more like, I think that a week or 2 ago, I became at peace with the idea that I was like, this is the first movement of this season. Like
You're talking about the old lady?
No.
A different kind of movement.
You've been really scatological with your humor today.
I think because it kind of gets you.
I don't like it.
I know. And I think part of keeping our partnership spicy
is
I'm just making you a little uncomfortable.
And I think that I just downshifted the amount that we talk about the show just because even to its high standards, which I think it is still meeting, there just wasn't a lot to note. You know, we've talked about Al Hashimi, the new character, the new attending physician at the emergency department. We've talked about Langdon. I can go through the patients that we have. There are some that are incredibly affecting, some that are pretty gross, some that are seemingly there as springboards to talk about larger social issues, which are the Pitt has often dove headfirst into.
Yep.
But the way that this episode ends, I thought signaled a start your engines moment for the season.
Okay.
So we get probably the first big wallop emotional beat at the end of this episode with Louis passing at the beginning of the episode, and a lot of time spent with Dana as she prepares his body.
Yes. And teaches
this first day on the job new nurse what that entails. I thought that was quite moving, quite beautiful. Catherine Lanassa has a lot more to do this season, quite obviously, and for good reason. And I thought she was incredible in this episode. And I thought that last scene was great. You know, the saying goodbye to Louis and the fact that Robbie was the only one who knew a sort of personal biography for this character and why there would be nobody coming to claim his body or spend time with him. But it did it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there have been parts of this first season or this second season where I've been like, I don't really know if the chemistry is this same level that it was in the first season, or that the internal drama of the department is clicking for me the way it did in the first season, but it is now.
I've never wavered.
Yes.
Well, that's not true. I was a little like, oh, we're doing this again in the first few minutes or first 3/4 of the first episode. But since then, I've just been so happy to be watching the show. I'm so dialed into its rhythms, and it's just not unique, but it's almost old-fashioned, just satisfaction ratio. I thought this episode was incredible, and one of the reasons why I liked it so much is it's not just that the Pitt is executing classic television at the highest possible level. I do think that they are challenging themselves to honor the traditions of why we've always loved TV within its own challenging framework. Meaning, this is real time, like 24. We're getting, everything is cumulative, everything is building, and yet somehow within that, they've been able to carve out space for Robbie to be one of the most compelling lead characters, star performances on television. And beyond that, what I thought was really impressive about this episode, and maybe this links to the larger conversation about when it's going to quote unquote get going, is in a way, this was the Pitt's version of a bottle episode. The framing of Louis from his final moments at the beginning to the moments of respect at the end served as a spine for the episode that really was about dignity and the parts of the life experience that we who are lucky enough to be floating above it for as long as we can don't think about and don't worry about. And there were moments in it that I found, and this is really remarkable for a show that, let's just say, governs in prose to the degree that this show does, if not governs fully in like press releases written by the American Nurses Association.
Very declarative, yeah.
It never misses an opportunity to educate.
In the issues part of it, I think that it's doing better in terms of having some ambiguity and some mystery to the characters.
But there is still, it doesn't miss an opportunity to educate, like, most penicillin allergies aren't real. Oh, okay, good to know. But even in the midst of that, like, there were moments that were borderline poetic to me. The ritualistic cleaning of the body, and while Dana's explaining it, felt like something totemic, like something, like it made me think about how, and I think they make a reference to this, or Robbie does at some point, that like other cultures throughout history have treated death differently than we do in America. Certainly in terms of honoring or respecting or having ritual that end a life as well as rituals that begin a life. And even just within that context, even the small bits of like factoids of like, well, if no one claims the ashes, it gets thrown into a mass grave. Like that, it was heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was remarkably done. For a show that can be heavy-handed, even in ways that I think are educational or important, like I thought that it had a relatively artistic touch for this episode that kept me. I'm always entertained, but I found myself moved.
I was moved as well. I also thought that the juxtaposition of Louis with, sometimes at the Pitt that you're just dealing with up to 20 characters. So forgive me for not remembering the name of the prisoner who's in the hospital currently.
Is it Gus?
Yeah, it might be. And the debate that's sort of going on between Alashimi and Robbie about whether or not they can really afford to keep him in the hospital simply to feed him better than he is being fed at the prison, and whether or not I think Robbie is taking the long view that that's just a drop in the ocean. Like that's a bed that somebody else could be using, and we're not really in the business of making sure a guy has enough protein and nutrients. We're here to save lives, and it's this is a triage area, not a rehabilitation area. And Alashimi is just I believe that you just the way you change the world is to do good at every moment you can. And, I don't think that Robbie is being intentionally inhumane about anything, but it was really interesting to see the kindness and obviously the sort of the soul come out of him when it was talking about Louis, who has also been coming into the hospital basically for maintenance. You know what I mean? At this point,
they were his emergency contact.
Exactly. And that's sort of his weird second family. Or the extent to that he has one, and he was asking Langdon about his kids, and he seems to know everybody, and it's he knows the procedures as well as the attendings do. So I just thought it was a really thoughtful and uncommented upon within the show. It's not like anybody goes up to Robbie after he gives this Louis eulogy and says, you should think about then if that's how you feel about Louis, think about all the other people out in this.
No, there's a trickle-down effect of the emotion. The fact that a lot of, the Louis passing landed hard on Perla, who's a character who we don't often linger on, was a really beautiful opportunity that the show took to be well, she has a history and she has an inner life. The other story that I thought you were going to mention that dovetailed nicely with it is the terminal cancer patient who doesn't want to go home.
Yeah.
Because she is in a different place with the objective reality of her death as opposed to the subjective emotional experience that her adoring husband is fully engaged in. And again, that's in the presence of the night charge nurse as the death doula. It was heavy. I mean, there's a scene in a show that we didn't really cover, Dying for Sex, where Paula Pell plays the comedian from SNL and from Girls 5 Eva. She plays a death doula similarly, and it's a long, quite powerful scene where she's like, "Do you want to know what happens?" And it is a relatively uncelebrated opportunity that TV has to educate in that way, and play it across multiple storylines.
I don't know if that's a universal experience for people, but yes, I agree with you.
Which?
The explanations.
For sure. But I'm saying there are things that we don't like to think about in our daily life, and there are things that we don't like to think about in our entertainment, and there are things that people who make entertainment don't really want to spend time with either.
Yes.
But there are certain shows and certain stories and certain scaffolded story structures that allow for that in ways that I think are pretty fascinating and commendable. I did wonder, to your point about the prisoner, do you think that Robbie has any kind of metaversal awareness about what happened when David Krumholtz stabbed him and Kelly back in ER, and thus he doesn't want potentially violent criminals in the emergency room? The show is aware of our pre-existing relationship with Dr. Noah Wiley. So I do wonder if that ever comes into it.
Well, that certainly informs the way I watch him interact with Langdon.
Because it's
because Carter had such a pronounced drug problem in ER.
No, he didn't. Did he?
Didn't he?
Well, maybe he did. I don't remember.
He was addicted to fentanyl.
God damn, ahead of his time. What
and
season was that?
He had chronic pain following the death of Lucy, following her death.
Wow, I have blacked
that out. So that would go
out.
Into season 7.
I was probably going to parties then with my fellow comic book fans. They were called conventions. Honestly, but in my mind, they were fun as parties. So
it's very rare that I'm I got this piece of TV history and you don't.
I know, because you were probably doing travel baseball then, and yet no. But
season 7 ER, I was partying.
We've also established that at the end of
when was season 7?
2000,
Oh
2001.
my God. You couldn't keep me off the streets since 2000.
I know, we tried.
Pre 9/11?
But the city was yours. It's like, it was the hour before the 25th hour for you.
It was the 24th hour.
So to speak. Yeah. But we've already established in this podcast that there's nothing you like more after a long performative, draining experience than to like fire up the idiot box.
It's also funny that you're mentioning the sort of metatextual relationship we have to actors and their other roles, because the terminal cancer patient's husband
I was hoping we'd
is
talk
played
about
by
this.
Taylor Hanley, who plays Kyle on Mayor of Kingstown.
Oh wait, but wasn't he also Cousin Oliver on the OC?
Oh, I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, that guy's really seen some shit. He was taken prisoner.
Yeah, he's Oliver from the OC.
Okay.
This is like two wolves, but one is kind of a puppy.
One's the Mayor of Kingstown. And the other like, it's the OC, bitch.
One of them is like, actually, Ben Reilly was the Scarlet Spider. That's cool.
Let's talk about some other storylines going on in the pit right now. I wanted to ask you, we were talking about Robbie just now, so I'll mention this. How can his cavalier attitude about helmet safety on a motorcycle really manifest itself?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about this.
Because they've now made this a big thing.
Not only have they made it a big thing, it now seems 6 episodes into season 2 of The Pit, it appears that all of the characters on The Pit are watching season 2 of The Pit. They know that we know that Robbie is a little cavalier about this. Thus, 1/3 of the patients are motorcycle related this year, and everyone keeps looking at him like, you moron, you absolute fool. So I don't know how this shakes out unless they are building. I mean, there's a number of ways it could shake out. One of the ways it could shake out is the season could end and he could ride off, and then we linger on the night nurse and it's like, guess who's coming back in this time as a patient. I mean, that's in play for them. I guess I appreciate the fact, again, with the sense of like firm hand on the wheel, or on the handlebars in this case, that they are running towards it. That they're not trying to hide the fact that that's
I also
lingering.
think it's pretty realistically human to have somebody who's like 98% safe, but the 2% is pretty bad.
Pretty wild, yeah.
Because the 2% is like, if it goes wrong, it's over.
What do you think about, one of the other things that I just admire structurally on the show is the way that it takes the quieter moments within each episode, if not the quieter moments in the season, to just subtly address things that were lingering. Last week, it was what happened to Dr. Collins. This week, Langdon asked Dana about the guy who punched her.
Oh, yeah.
If there was any resolution there. And he talks about how many months to be alone? 10 months that he was basically on the shelf alone with his thoughts to make us remember the amount of time that has passed for them. And then the other thing that they're doing just expertly, I think, is bringing up on the big mixing board of life, just pushing up slowly on the supporting characters to give them a little bit more. The biggest example of that this week is nurse practitioner, Donnie.
Yes, who is given a moment to show like his extreme level of expertise when it comes to suturing, but is also put in a position where he's like, I think Mohan or somebody comes over, I can't remember who, grabs a patient from him. And it's like, I got this. And he was just like, I'm an MP now, so like I can handle that. Yeah.
I also think this is another example of them being smart about the cast that they have. So Brandon Mendez-Homer is the actor. Juilliard vet.
Nice.
And when you cast like really talented stage actors, they can probably do more than just like, push crash carts in the background.
For sure. Hot dog guy was pretty gross. Didn't need to really see him barf multiple times. The deaf lady, I'm curious where that's going.
Can I ask a question?
I think that is also like being used as an example of like Santos's kind of like...
She's not...
She's just not on the ball when it comes to patient relations.
Detail-oriented.
Yes, but she is still a badass in the room, though.
And is dating the surgeon.
Yes.
They're having, or at least they have
Garcia,
a situationship.
Yeah.
Can I ask maybe a dumb question?
There's no dumb questions.
Well, I don't want to be insensitive, but couldn't the deaf patient write?
I had this conversation with my wife while watching this. I do feel like they're making it a little hard. I'm sure it would be painstaking to be like, here, I'm going to write it down. But if she could just write down like, can you tell me how you are feeling in your head, stomach, everywhere? And then the deaf patient wrote it down.
Not even, because Princess was like, how are you feeling? And she was like, great,
she's
I'll
like,
tell
I
you.
only know, but it speaks to the amount of detail that they need.
For sure.
And if Princess is like, she may have said stomach or she may have said...
But she's been waiting for 5 hours. Give her a whiteboard. She could write the great American novel
Right.
about how she's feeling.
Right.
That's just me.
I thought that was strange too, but I think it's also like the procedures that they're supposed to go through at the hospital. And they had this situation at the beginning of last season with the woman who, I can't remember, she was maybe from Nepal.
Yeah, they couldn't figure out the language.
And they couldn't even find out like what kind of interpreter they needed until they used Google. So sometimes maybe the most obvious answer is right there.
Can I recite a line of dialogue from this episode of television?
Mhm.
As I mentioned to Dr. Santos, generative AI is not perfect.
Speak on it.
We got to switch things up with this character.
Yes. Dr. Al-Shimi has been brought in to be she is right now just a character foil, and she is a tweet. And I like the performer, and I think that there's potential here for the character, but I don't know what we're doing with this character.
We are entering this part of the season. Now, everything can change, and it's the beauty of the show is that people can surprise you as they emerge over time. Like 2 weeks ago, we were like, what's up with Joy? And then 2 weeks later, we're like, oh, we understand a little bit more. She doesn't even want to be a emergency room doctor. She wants to be a pathologist.
But she's good at figuring out what might be wrong with people.
Which is the kind of doctor you've liked since the days of House.
Yes.
We are at the point where I think it's fair, since we have a twice weekly podcast, to say this character is not working yet. And we can praise the performer all we want, but like it could potentially be a case of a mismatch, because she's now actively dragging the show down. I would say the character. It
also doesn't reflect great on Robbie though, because clearly other people are starting to gravitate towards her a little bit. Santos might be a little bit annoyed that she's like, make sure you're up on your charting, but for the most part, everybody seems to be like, okay, like I'll go along with what your ideas are, the generative AI stuff aside.
Yeah.
Much like the show itself, I think we need to give her the back nine of the season.
I think that's
to see where she's at.
Do you relate to? I think you don't, because we already discussed your feelings about scatology. But I thought that was a remarkable rebound for Ogilvy, who 90 minutes ago was being
sprayed with shit,
and then he's like, "I was born to do this."
Yes, I thought for a second he might not have been born to do it.
I feel like that would have wavered almost any confident young man. You know what I mean? Like at least given you like wait till the second day before you decide you were born to do this.
That better be the first thing they tell you at med school. Is like, you guys signed up for this, but just so you know, you can get just sprayed down with all sorts of fluids.
I honestly appreciated the honesty of the show most when the hot dog guy was bazooka barfing, because it did. You kind of like, if you are ill, for example, you want the professionals around you to be, to be professional at all times. Like they've seen worse. This is part of it. They support you. I appreciated, in terms of like real pull back the curtain honesty, that Langdon was super grossed out and couldn't hide it. You know what I mean? Like that he wasn't like, I see. I'm sorry this has happened to you, sir.
Yeah.
He was like, that's gnarly. I will never eat that again.
Put a pin in it there. I guess something like Baby Jane Doe.
Yeah, do it.
That's become a thing.
I haven't really been following the story, but people have been praising, as they should, the great Catherine Lanassa.
Yeah.
But then didn't she say that she was like studying Mayor of Easttown? But it's like they're in Pittsburgh.
I don't know what she made fun of Philadelphia in that. Like, remember last season, wasn't there like a whole like crowd scene, and she's just like, what do you think, we're in Philadelphia or something?
And she allows the prisoner to stay because he used to work at a bar where she had her first kiss. She is a Yinzer, as they say.
But you don't think she's doing a Pittsburgh accent?
I don't know that she is, but I thought that was a little... Baby Jane Doe sounds super Philly to me.
I gotta say, I've never spent any time in Pittsburgh, so I don't know the accent.
You haven't been there any time?
No.
Really great city.
Okay.
I'm not saying this just to like appeal to the the crew.
I know, but you have a more of like a wider swath of Pennsylvania under your resume. I don't. I'm just like a Philly guy.
You're kind of a coastal guy.
Yeah.
No. You got to get out in the streets and like see the real deal of America.
Like Western Massachusetts.
That's a little far.
Yeah, but like I did that,
What'd you think?
It was awesome. It's beautiful out there.
Did you see any people or just like...
I saw some people.
Did you?
You know I did.
The Dark Hearts?
No, man. When I was in college.
But what'd you do in Western Massachusetts? You're alluding
I was dating a girl.
In Western Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Is this the After Dark segment? I don't know.
Let's go into After Dark. I dated a girl she went to Mount Holyoke.
I don't remember this at all.
Oh, well, maybe you and I weren't cool yet. Maybe this is pre-us.
Well, no. So I'm glad we're talking about this, because was this like circa like 97?
96. 95. Okay. No, 95. 96.
Because this is the thing.
This is pre-us. So it's like, it's weird.
Because I was thinking
I can tell you anything right now.
I was thinking about how in summer of 97, I did like I'm going to Europe with a Eurail pass, and like went to some cities.
Mhm.
And I was like, hey, why didn't we do that trip?
Yeah.
That would have been fun. Because I probably couldn't hang because you're like this.
No, 97, I
but-
was still pretty PG-13.
But the question is, what's shocking considering the complete like web of interconnected life that we now share.
Yeah.
I probably didn't call you. Like, I feel like what was our you didn't figure into that trip in a way that
When
is
I
surprising
moved to
me.
Boston in 96.
Yeah.
Summer, so
And then
96
you were driving
fall.
out to Holyoke.
No,
Up in
I was driving
Northampton.
up to Holyoke when I was still living in Philadelphia.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's a whole.
But when I moved to Boston in 96, I was already, we were talking on the phone.
we talked on the phone, but then was I like, some news, friend? I will be leaving the continental United States
I
for
don't
a
remember
period
you
of 3
going
weeks.
anywhere. And was that in the summer?
Summer, yeah. What were you doing
I
summer
was like, I
97?
was hanging out by then.
Hell yeah.
I think that was my first Boston summer. That was pretty cool.
How would you define a Boston summer?
Just smoking cigs and working at the record store.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
And going to see bands.
you did that in Boston winters too, for what it's worth. Like,
I
that's
mean,
kind of an
But
evergreen.
I didn't have school. I didn't have to worry about school.
Were you worried about school a lot?
Not much. Not enough. Yeah.
Look at you now.
Anything else you wanted to get off your
Well,
chest?
I felt like you had a couple cultural takes you wanted to fire off.
I just wanted to say that there's a record coming out in 9 hours. Cold to the Touch, the new album by Angel Dust, comes out.
Tell me.
I saw Angel Dust in Boston last 2 weekends ago at the Something in the Way Fest. And it's one of the best live shows you can spend money to see. And it's kind of a definitely hardcore rooted band because Justice, the singer for Angel Dust, was also in Trapped Under Ice. But I would also say that if you are a fan of like, I honestly, for me, it gives me the same feeling, if not sonically the same thing as like the punk garage aggression of Hot Snakes, but it's also very tuneful. And it's got like some like hyper aggressive power pop moves in it too. So it's just a great band.
You want to cut and paste that onto the Substack Rex you're going to text me?
Yeah, sure.
I wouldn't mind that.
But that's my big rec for Friday when it drops.
That's a good rec.
in a couple hours. And then that's it.
That's it?
Yeah, reading wise, like I think True Detective season 2, I think I told you this, is sending me back to Elroy. And I haven't read James Elroy sincerely, probably since American Tabloid Colt 6000.
Mhm.
So I went back and started reading Big Nowhere, and it's fucking good. He in the LA books, he was really, really in his bag. But I feel like that's a little aggro for you.
No, I had you heard me on last week's podcast. I'm much more politicized than I used to be.
Not politicized, but did you read like LA Confidential and Big Nowhere and
Blushing the whole
White
time.
Jazz? Yeah.
No, I think it's good to revisit books if you're not like the worst thing that it can happen, and it's happened to me, is you're like, that was one of the most important books I've ever read. I love that
And
book.
then you go back and
you're like, oof. Yeah. These types of writers have it usually.
You know what's also a tough
hold up.
feeling is if you pick up an old Elmore Leonard or James Elroy
Mhm.
book and you're like, boy, this is like reading it the first time. I don't remember any of this.
Mhm.
And then you get 180 pages in and you're like, shit, I remember everything that's about to happen. Like you basically, it hits you like your brain unlocks.
Yeah, but then isn't it just a glide path all the way to the end then? Because you're not worried
Yeah,
about
kind of. It is.
plot
It is.
or story anymore.
Right. And you can actually be like, oh, I remember what happens here. And I can skip ahead 5 pages if you want to. That's it. That's all I got. You got
Okay.
anything? Music? Books?
New Rat Boys record is really good. You
Mm.
like them? Chicago band.
I do.
Really
I
enjoyable.
haven't spent a ton of time on them.
Sing Into an Empty Chair, really strong album. And then I'm also like, I'm really spending too much time maybe for my age range in my demo with like Fake Mink and SD Kid and all these British rappers.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, a lot. I'm really
You driving
enjoying.
around to it? You listening to it while you write? What are you doing?
Well, so as you know, the NFL season is over. Thus, I have nothing to listen to anymore. Also, like, I guess Sheil, God bless him, is sick, so there's no Philly
yeah, but
special
like
this week.
this is the best time of the year because everybody's competitive again. It's like now you can start talking about Clint Kubiak and his vision for the Raiders.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the podcasts have
they're
quieted.
active.
No, but like
Yes,
this
I know
week-
what you mean. I know what you mean.
So I'm listening. Yeah, there's the new Fake Mink record, The Boy Who Cried Terrified. It's really good. There's a Burial sample in the last track you might enjoy.
Shit.
Going back to this SD Kid record from last year. Really enjoy that.
He played or is playing LA this week.
Oh yeah, I'm going with the homies. I just didn't know if you wanted in on that.
SD Kid is a rapper from Liverpool who
That some people
think.
thought was Timothy Chalamet.
Yes, and Chalamet's in town.
And Chalamet dropped bars on the Four Raws remix. I don't know if you spent time with that.
I didn't.
It's very enjoyable.
Okay, I'll go check this stuff out.
That's
Will
really
you
good.
guys...
But also, you know what other record I love that my kids really don't love? You put me onto this, is Bass Victim.
Oh, yeah.
I love that album.
Yeah.
And that
record's really good.
The record's called Bass Punk 2. And I have had that playing more than twice while picking up my children from school.
Turn this off.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly. They really like...
Do you think you're the only guy in line to pick up kids at that school listening to Bass Victim?
I want to be very clear about something. Every single electric vehicle in line to pick up children from the progressive Los Angeles school is the fucking SD kid of his own life.
Yeah.
Inside of that climate-controlled box.
A dad hat and a guy listening to...
So everyone's wearing an open button-down shirt and New Balance sneakers being like, they don't know how cool I am.
Yeah.
Like that one gif, the guy at the party, and then everyone at the party's like, we're actually at a party. Go back to the comic book store, you fucking dork. But for those beautiful last few moments of solitude, I'm like, still got it. I could get a Urail pass.
Yeah.
I could go.
See ya.
You're really too eager for that.
Thanks to Kaya. Thanks to Kaya. We'll be back on Monday, President's Day. Salute.
We won't be celebrating that this year.
But we will be talking about Night of the Seven Kingdoms and industry on Monday. And who knows? Maybe there's some other stuff out there in culture that will hit.
Luckily, my kids have a 4-day weekend, so we can really, really drill down into what's wrong with their music taste.
Talk to you guys on Monday.